back in June, I had this idea to turn a D&D monster into pie, and because it is spooky season, we are going to do it today. We are taking a beholder monster from Dungeons & Dragons and turning it into a pie. Well, 9 pies specifically, but let's get started. Now, you might be wondering if this idea came from a really bad pun, and you would be correct, because charisma is my dump stat, and all of my jokes are based in really bad dad jokes or, bad puns, and it is what it is, and you get what you get with me. So I don't want to make this by hand, so we're going to use my food processor to whip up a bunch of pie crust. I wasn't sure how much I needed, so I made 5 batches of my double pie crust, so that's 10 total sheets of pie crust that I put together. Any that I did not need to use, I could just store in the freezer for like next month when I'm going to be making pie. So just put that together in a food processor, allow it to come together, and then I just shaped it into flat discs, wrapped those in plastic wrap, and I needed to chill them completely before using. Here's the Leaning Tower of pie crust. Pie crust. So this needs to take a nap in the fridge while we work on other things, and we've got a lot to work on, so let's put that away. Now, if you think I'm going to freehand this, you're crazy. Instead, let me explain how I broke this down. So what I did was I drew a beholder based on a couple different parts. We have the body with the eye and the gaping mouth. We have the tentacles, and then we have the smaller eyes that surround the beholder. I had 8 mini pie pans, thus we had 8 floating eyes. I had 1 large pie pan, so we had the body with the beholder. And to give this some dimension, I made teeth, scales, and a tongue for the beholder. Now, this was a really, really big project, so I decided to take my time cutting out all of these pieces, and then once the head and the eyes were cut out, then I drew the tentacles how I wanted to connect them. Some were layered, I cut those out, and then I made a map and numbered all of the pieces. Like you can see there's a giant pile of teeth right there, and I took a photo because it was going to be really, really important for me in order to not get super lost. While the oven is preheating, we're going to let these warm up just a little bit, and then we will go from there. Now, I don't know about you, but I love flouring my workstation. It just hits the spot. Anyway, we're going to roll out our pie crust until it's really nice and thin. Patch any spots if you have to, and then we are going to place down our templates. There's a reason we cut those out before. It's super helpful. We're just going to very carefully take a sharp instrument to cut those out, and we're going to arrange them on a parchment-lined baking tray. Now, a word of warning, if you want to recreate this somehow, there are a lot of templates, and this is a very long process, so I recommend after you cut them out, letting them chill a little bit, because it's going to warm up significantly, and the pastry will warm up, and that when you put it in the oven, it will spread out a little bit, so we want it to remain as cold as possible. So you can cut out the templates, put them on the baking sheet, pop them in the fridge for a little bit, and then we will move on to coloring them. Now, I wanted the beholder to be colorful, so once the pie crust is chilled, I'm going to do a color wash with some gel food coloring diluted with a little bit of water. I wanted the bases of each piece to be colored before they go in the oven. So the tongue, we're going to do a base of pink, the tentacles and body and the eyelids, they're all going to be purple. And then I'm going to go in with a brush and some more diluted coloring and some reds and browns to kind of create some contrast and texture. Now, I know it looks weird. I know it looks weird right now. I know it looks not great. I need you to trust the process. We're going to bake these, and then once they're done, they're gonna come out of the oven, and we're gonna let them cool before we move on to anything else. Next step is the filling. Now, you are welcome to flavor your pie of the beholder any way you wish. However, I chose mixed berry for 2 reasons. 1, it was relatively inexpensive because I get my berries in bulk from Costco, and 2, I thought it would look nice with the irises being red with the vent holes. So I took 4 pounds, yes, 4 pounds of mixed berries, along with the zest and juice of 4 lemons, about a cup and a half-ish of granulated sugar, and some cinnamon and ground clove, and mixed that together in a large pot. And I allowed it to come to a boil. before I added in my cornstarch slurry to help thicken the mixture. We're gonna let this cook down for another couple minutes just to help the cornstarch activate and thicken, and then we're going to remove this from the heat and set that aside to cool slightly before we continue. Now, if you thought we were done with pie crust, you are so wrong. We're gonna roll out more because it's time to par bake our pie crusts, baby. So we're gonna roll this out nice and thin, and we're going to use this one to line our 9-inch pie pan. And we're just gonna press that in with our hands, get in there, and we're going to trim off the excess, and we're going to fully embrace our inner Snow White surrounded by lots of little woodland creatures as she trims off the pie crust to her gooseberry pie. We're gonna set that aside, and we're going to do the exact same thing for our mini pies. So roll it out, press it in, trim off the excess. This is so many pies. You are easy. This just goes there. You all, however. Now, I don't normally bake with these mini pies, so I don't have pie weights specifically for them. So instead, I'm using beans in parchment paper to function as pie weights. Now, a heads up, you will not be able to use the beans for consumption after this, just they won't process the same way. So I now have a container for pie beans. We're going to put these in the oven for 20 minutes to par bake while we work on other stuff. And let's keep going. Now we're gonna cut out the eyes for the beholder. All right, so I drew out where I need the eyes to look, and instead of cutting them out manually, we are outsourcing, baby. Once the vents are cut, it's time to assemble. So we're going to take our par-baked pie crusts, we're going to fill them the majority of the way up with our pie filling. It's this beautiful red purpley color. It smells so good. And we're going to take our pie crust tops and put those on top of the, do you see the vision? Because I see it. It looks so good. Now, I did not cover the body of the beholder with a pie crust thing because I did this. So now that those are in the oven, we're going to do some arts and crafts. We are going to add the like scaly, bumpy texture to the beholder. So we're going to just go around the outside, touch up any spots we might have missed, and we're going to take a more concentrated amount of that gel, food coloring, and water, and we're going to decorate. And it's going to take it from like a murky looking purple to like actual scaly. It looks so good. Do the exact same thing with the tentacles. We're going to make them look nice and, you know, gross. I also wanted to give it kind of like a bloodshot eye situation, so I took some red and went around the outside. I also took some more to the tongue to really accentuate that like bumpiness. Have fun with this if you do this. I don't think the majority of you are going to do this, but have fun with it. It's arts and crafts, but it's food. It's so fun. Yeah, and if you mess up, it's fine because it's not that serious. And then I took some gel food coloring and I used that to color the pupil. Now that our pies are out of the oven, it's time to let them cool completely before we assemble. And now it's time for final assembly, brought to you by Wonky Camera Angle. I will say the thing that I like about the mixed berry pie filling is it's pretty forgiving in terms of placement, so if you have to reset things, it's fine. Did this break into 2 pieces? Yeah. Am I upset about it? A little bit. But wait, there's more!
But wait, there's more!
Not terrifying at all. This is why we took that reference photo earlier. Lots of eyes looking lots of directions. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Maybe this will be it.
That'd be kind of cool.
Maybe this is our salvation. Oh, it turned out so good. All right, well, that only took 2.5 days work, but it's done. A few notes about this. 1, I was definitely going for more of a cartoony vibe as opposed to like a more realistic rendering of a beholder. 2, I know I did this in pie because of the pie of the beholder. I have been thinking about this nonstop for months.
This is a dream that I have had since lunch, and I am not giving up on it now.
But I do think that pie has its limits, specifically because of textures, and like you can't reshape a pie like you can a cake. If you cut it, if you have a circular cake and you cut it so that it makes a heart shape, you can't really do that with pie. So I feel like you're limited in that way. In terms of, realistically, I think I did well. I definitely made some mistakes, and there are things that I would change, like baking the layers together for the pies, the smaller eyes. I think I would change that. But other than that, I think I did a pretty good job. Anyway, I hope you liked this episode. It was definitely a lot of work and definitely a labor of love, but I had a lot of fun doing it, and I think I made something that's kind of cute and kind of creepy. That brings us to the end of the episode. If you liked what you saw, smash that like button. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, drop them down below. Again, I am not a professional. I am an amateur at this, so if you have any tips on doing things like this in the future, definitely let me know. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We do all things food, fun, and fantasy here at Underdark Cellars, and ring that bell for notifications so you're the first to know when new videos go live. Share this with someone you would like to eat Pie of the Beholder with. And that's it. So adventurers, make sure you take care of yourselves, do something nice for someone else, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.